tonight we have Mark Jones, who hopefully many of you had a chance from the emails to look at his both some of his YouTube videos and his stores on eBay, and also Etsy and Hippostcards. But Mark is a postcard dealer. He's in Illinois, about an hour or so south of Chicago, and he has a YouTube channel, and he does weekly, I think most weeks, 2 videos a week, where he talks about postcards that people are buying, talks about terminology and different things. He also has a video he does where he takes a postcard and goes where it was taken and takes a current picture to compare them. So Mark's becoming pretty well known because of the YouTube videos. So we're lucky tonight to have him. And Mark, go ahead.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'm here. Yeah, thanks, Michael. All right, so my name is Mark Jones. I'm an online reseller of postcards. I'm going to walk through tonight some philosophies, how I got into it, what I do, basically why I do it is very important to me, and some background on what I do. And then I have an agenda I'm going to go through here in a second. But right here, what you're seeing right here is my YouTube splash screen. This is my billboard. If it was on a highway, this is what you would see. Probably get eggs on it. But on the internet, you need to get a nice marketing message. And my message to people when they go to YouTube is learn about postcard reselling with SMPostcards. Just 4 words gets the word out. You can go to my page. Anybody can stop there and they know what that video is about. So I'm working with a professional influencer for YouTube. He's probably one of the biggest, him and his brother. He's guiding me through some of this, and I'm on a group with him. So I'm learning a little bit more about YouTube than I probably ever wanted to. So the agenda that I'm going to walk through, and I do have a question and answer session at the end. So if there's any questions, just let me know. So the first thing I'm going to go through is how did I start selling postcards? The next thing is, where do I sell postcards? Everybody says, you got 21,000 cards. Where do you keep them? I'm going to explain a little bit of how I take care of that. Then I have a special postcard I do special topics on my weekly video, like Michael said. Today I brought to you is going to be Hold to the Light postcards. Now, most collectors know what these are. So a lot of people don't know what these are. When I was introduced to them, it didn't look like what I thought it was. So I have some examples of those. Then I'm going to play a video for you. We tested this, it did work, of a 1920s, circa 1920s era of downtown Manteno, Illinois, which is about 10 miles south of me or north of me. And they have some dirt roads, some old cars. And then I took a picture of what it looks like today, and it kind of morphs into that. So we're going to play that. And then I have the questions and answers. So how did I start selling postcards? So my background for years was in restaurants. Everybody knows Denny's restaurants. I worked in restaurants since I was 14. I had to. My mom and dad were working. They didn't have the money. If I wanted to play sports or do anything, I had to go out and work. So I learned restaurants. And then I started working for Denny's. I became a general manager, a district manager. And then I left there and bought my own restaurant. We had that for 3 to 4 years. And then somebody walked in one day and said, I want to buy your restaurant for my son. I said, you can't afford me. And I threw a number out and he said, okay, I'll buy it. So I sold the restaurant. And so my background's been in management. And then I went back to school and got into computers. And I was out in the field. I worked all over the world. I put phone systems and telecommunications in Germany, France, Denmark, London. So I've been all over the place. Every city in the United States, I probably either fixed or repaired or installed a phone system. And one of my customers was the local electric utility in Chicago. And I worked for them. I didn't want to travel anymore. I had 2 young kids and it was just getting too hard. So I went to work for them. And I was there for over 20 years. And then of course the mergers and us older people, they just want us out. So I took a day after my birthday, I hit the button and said, I'm out. So I retired 2 years ago. And I was reselling on the side, toys, action figures and stuff like that. I had over 2,000 listings on the internet, and I had all that. And I said, you know what? I wanted to find something else to get into. So I got into postcards, the history of them stuff. And how it really started is my father-in-law does house cleanouts. Him and another two gentlemen, when they have estate sales or somebody is moving or someone passed away, they go in and clean these houses out. And I asked him, I said, what do you do with all the ephemera, all the paper and postcards? Oh, we burn it. I go, you burn postcards. So I said, you need to save those. So every once in a while I'll get a handful, and they keep Vernon, Dave, and my father-in-law now look for it. But I started getting stacks of postcards and going through them, starting to research. So to me, I saved those postcards and got them back out into the public. That's one of the reasons why I do this. Is a lot of that stuff's being destroyed, not saved, and some of it, and I wouldn't say valuable as in paper and what I could sell it for, but the history, some of the writing on the back and who they were sent, especially the wartime ones. There was a whole stack of them I got from a lady corresponding with soldiers. They would have burned that. So, but that's how I got into postcards. So then I started on eBay, started listing more and more and more and more. And it's been pretty successful. Am I going to get rich off doing it? No. Does it supplement my retirement income? Of course it does. I just reinvest it. I just buy another camera, or I buy more postcards, as you'll see here in a moment. So that's how I started in the postcards. A lot of people say, well, where do you sell postcards? The biggest place that I found for postcards is eBay. If you do a search just for any item on eBay that has the word postcard in it, it's between 9 and 10 million postcards for sale on eBay. So I said, okay, how do I get my postcard in front of somebody with that many people selling the same thing? You have to do it on price. You have to do it on your titles, your keywords. What are they searching for? So there was a lot of work I did in that. So, but 9 to 10 million postcards on eBay alone. Then Etsy is another site like eBay, but they do more crafts, and they have to be 20 years or older to be able to sell it on there. And all the postcards I have are basically older than that. That starts out slow. Etsy does not have the traffic that eBay does. Just this last 2 months, Etsy has taken off. I've doubled my sales on Etsy. I don't know why. I haven't figured it out with all the analytics yet. I haven't got all the reports. But it's paying for itself now, finally, after a while. So Etsy is another place you can find some postcards. A lot of people make postcards and put them on Etsy and crafts. And a lot of people buy postcards for scrapbooking and stuff like that. Some of the damaged ones and stuff I've seen. And then there's also a niche site. They call them micro niche sites. There's Hippostcards. And then Hippostcard also has Hip comic books and Hip stamps. So they're really niched down to the micro niche on there with Hippostcard. Now that at the top here, eBay is my 80% of the cards I sell is on eBay, 15% on Etsy, and 5% of my sales on Hip. So my focus really is where you sell the most hamburgers or hot dogs. Most postcards, I focus on eBay a lot, and I keep my eye on Etsy and Hip. But my focus is mainly making sure I take care of the mothership, eBay. So that's where I sell the postcards. How I get my name out and build a business in nowadays world. Years ago, you would send business cards and stuff like that. Now you need to have an online presence. With my technical background, this is probably the easier part for me. The harder part is doing the videos and being on camera and learning about postcards and working with the experts on that. But this part here, SMPostcards.com, will take you right into my eBay store. I own that name. and it goes right to eBay. And everybody can remember SM Postcard. And SM stands for Shelly and Mark, my wife. She has nothing to do with postcards, but I had to stick her name on there. But S sounds good in front of anything. So SM Postcards. And I had someone make this logo for me. I'm not a graphic artist either. So I have over 25,000 items listed for sale as of today. I have 21,000 items on eBay and Hip. Now with the eBay and Hip, they talk to each other. So any postcard I list for sale on eBay, it automatically gets put on Hip. And if it sells on Hip, it tells eBay to take it down or reduce the quantity back and forth. Real easy to set up. Anybody can set it up. It's just a click of a button, put your username in and it goes. Now I think eBay does get a cut if someone buys something from Hip. But it's flawless. So I really don't do a lot of stuff on Hip because if I put it on eBay, it goes there and I just check Hip to make sure I can pack up and, you know, take care of the customers. So that was pretty straightforward for me. And then I have about 4,000 items now on Etsy. And that's one of the larger postcard sellers. I think the largest I found on Etsy was 5,000. So I'm getting up there on Etsy as one of the bigger postcard sellers. Now eBay, I'm still a very small minnow in a big lake. You know, there's sellers out there with 80,000 postcards, Card Cow, Refried Jeans. They have 100,000 postcards. How do you keep track of that? So that was my dilemma when I started doing this. You know, when I had 500 postcards, oh, I know where it is. It's a green one. It'll be right here. Well, I got up to 1,000. I got up to 2,000. They all started looking the same to me and they're all in a box. I had them spread on the floor. Every time someone would buy one, I'd have to spread them on the floor to see if I can find it. I didn't think I protected them well. So I bought this big box, the biggest postcard storage box I could find. I loaded it up with about 800 to 900 postcards. Well, then I went to move it. It wasn't moving. So I had to go to smaller boxes and I went back and forth. And then I started sorting them by name and title and city and state, just like everybody else that starts postcards do. Well, I ran into a problem. What if I had Boulder Dam? It's D for Dam, A for Arizona, N for Nevada. What was I thinking that day? What box is it in? So what I decided to do is I put a sleeve, a protective sleeve to protect the card. I want to preserve it. And I put a little sticker on the sleeve. Now don't put the stickers on the cards because when you take the sticker off, part of the card goes with it. My mistake. Everyone gets a number. And my left box has the lowest number and my right box, as you'll see here in a minute, has the highest number. So if someone buys a postcard and the identification number is 1,000, I just start working through the boxes. I know where it is. No more letters, no more locations, just numbers. And that has worked out on there. I had a big order the other day. I found 80 cards in about less than 10 minutes. Where before it would be like all night. I'd be pulling a nighter, drinking coffee, trying to find those cards. So, but I got better at that. So that's what I try to teach on the YouTube videos is do it when you start. It's harder to do it when you don't. Now my inventory is right in my office. I counted my steps for a video I did the other day. I can walk to this in 5 steps. Wow. So I can find any card within 10 seconds. The white boxes there are basically my original ones I had. The 2 shelves there will hold 40,000 postcards. And the red boxes is from a big haul. I'm going to show you what that is. I just bought 20,000 postcards, naval postcards. And I have a video out there. And there's a little story about that too. It's kind of neat how I'm in Chicago and this was sold in Florida. And they delivered it 5 feet from my front door. So all these cards here, all these boxes I had to invest in. The shelving there is made because as you know, postcards look light when you just have one. But if you put 800 in one of these white boxes, that's about 10 pounds. Those shelves had to hold more than 100 pounds or they start bowing. So my wife put all the shelves up. You notice they're all nice and straight. If I put them up, they probably would not be as straight. But she's remarkable with that type of stuff. And those brackets and boards are made for over 100 pounds. And I tell everybody, don't get the plastic shelves at Walmart and put a bunch of postcards, because in about a year, they're going to start looking, you know, like a hammock. But that's where I keep all the postcards. And I have a table right in front that I can take the box out and actually look on it, because the worst thing I want to do is tip one of these boxes over and then play 52 card pickup or damage a card. So I'm very careful with the way I do that. And there's no water around here either. I always make sure of that. Where do I get all these postcards? A lot of people ask me, how did you find these postcards? So I find postcards in big lots. I go to auctions, someone calls me, and that's where you make, as a resellers, we don't make money when we sell the postcard. We do tangible, but resellers make their money when they buy it. So if you buy a postcard for $5 and you sell it for $6, you made $1. Well, what if I could buy that postcard for 10 cents and sell it for $4? You got to negotiate the deal up front. Now, what goes into the cost of that postcard is the sleeve, the envelopes, the time, the shelves, the boxes, the insurance. I pay taxes. I'm licensed in 2 different states. So most of my postcards I sell for $4.45 free shipping. A lot of people say I'm too low. But my focus is not to get rich. My focus is to get these out to people. But it has to be worth my while and be able to reinvest in the business and buy the envelopes and go out and buy some more. So I figured $4.45 was a good deal. And so far it's worked. Some people sell them for 99 cents. They're not making money. They're just puppy mills of the postcard world. They're just, they don't care. They're just trying to roll them. I spend a little bit more time with them. I also buy small lots. The problem I found when I was buying the big lots is I bought this one collection at an auction. It was all of North Carolina. Nothing wrong with North Carolina, but this was a guy's collection and all he collected was North Carolina. Well, guess what? My filled up with nothing but North Carolina. People will not come to you. Out of 9 million postcards, they won't look at that. So I decided I would go out and buy separate lots, smaller ones, 100 cards, 50 cards. And I started getting a nice mixture. So you don't want to, if you're going to resell postcards, you want to get a good mixture. Flea markets. I was in Florida on vacation. I went to a flea market. A guy in his van had this album. It was full of nice older postcards, white border, undivided backs. I think maybe 120 postcards. I paid up for them, but I brought home a whole different type of thing. So I look for them at flea markets. Antique malls and booths. Now, when I go to antique malls and booths, I do one thing there is I support them. I like them. I like sitting in a booth for a couple hours going through postcard boxes. I'll pay $1 for a postcard there, but I know, and I put those, I sell those a little bit higher because I got to pay for what I do or an average, but I do find some unique cards in antique booths. And some people do price them up too far that I can't touch them, but I keep an eye on them because they usually don't sell and I go back and get them cheaper. And other collectors. I get a lot of people saying, hey, I got a bunch of postcards. What are they worth? And then we go back and forth. Hey, you just want to buy them from me? And I don't lowball them. I give them the retail value. Most resellers, if you have 1,000 postcards, my starting point is 10 cents per card. That's where I start negotiating. So if I can get 1,000 cards shipped for 10 cents a card, that's $100. So and most of the time, most resellers start out at 40%. So if you have $100, they're going to say $40. If retail's 100, it's $40 to the reseller because they have to make a profit. Meat on the bone is what they call it. So that's my starting point. The most I paid in the big lots is I think maybe 50 cents per card on the big lots, but I paid up to $40, $50 for a postcard. And one of them you'll see here in the next section. But most of my niche is from divided back, white border, linen, and chrome postcards. Continental postcards, birthday, greeting cards, just really don't sell. They don't catch on as much. I will do them. Oh, that's my bird too. I have a bird that sits next to me. His name's Sal. He's always down here with me. and I bring them upstairs at night. So those don't sell, so I kind of stay away from the newer ones there. But I also will do RPPCs and some of the other ones. I kind of leave that up to other people because a lot of people say RPPC and it's not. They haven't done their research. It's not what they think it is, and they put $50 on it. It's not going to sell, or they get it and they got to return it because it wasn't a true RPPC. There's a lot more time in those types of cards. So a lot of people think you have to just sell the high dollar cards. So I stay down. I love Chrome cards. I will dumpster dive head first for a Chrome card. I think they're neat. They're from my time. They have a lot of pictures on there, but I also like white borders. For some reason, I gravitate to white borders. When you feel a white border card, you know you got a white border card. You feel a linen, you know you got a linen card. Undivided backs are cool as also, but I'm probably one of the only ones that really like Chrome sometimes. You always see it on eBay. No Chromes, no Chromes. Okay, I'll take your cast off. So that's my niche, and they're easy to list and on there. So that's where I get the postcards. My biggest haul ever. This is a car loaded with over, I'm changed it from 20,000. If I had to do this video again in this picture, I would probably put 35 to 40,000 postcards are in this car. This was a club that sold naval covers and naval postcards and ships. The club sold it for years, these cards, and then they got out of it, and this gentleman had them, and they said, just keep them. Well, he kept them in his business. Well, then his daughter took over the business and said, I don't want these things. I want to use that space for something else. She doesn't want to do inventory. So she put it on eBay for local pickup. She's in Florida. I'm in Chicago. So I talked to her about it, took a little risk. We did the deal in about 10 minutes. She said she couldn't travel, but she had her friend coming up to Chicago to see her mom. They loaded this car up, her friend's car, and dropped them off to me. No shipping charge. She backed it up to the front door about 5 feet away. It took me and my wife about an hour to unload the car and carry him down to my office area in the basement. All the red boxes were pre-sorted. My time on this it's a dream to go through and list because they're already pretty well pre-sorted. What's in this lot? Ships. As you can see here, these are just two of probably 6,000 different ships. And I might have 100 of this card, 500 of the card on the right, but they all have a number on them and a name. So I'm learning a lot about naval stuff on here, which I like to do is learning. What else is in there? More ships, little ships, big ships, 113, 62. You know, what's a transport dock tank lander? I can tell you now what it is. But I go out and I find out what war it was in, and I'll put it into the listing and stuff like that. So I've got a little routine down. And what else? More ships. Even got submarines. That's a amphibious transport ship. Though you can see on the back there where they actually land the helicopters. So each one of these, and there's submarines. And I think Rick on here told me, I was wondering why there were so many ships, and he said that was during the Reagan time, because Reagan, it was a Cold War to Russia, they want to have a better Navy. That made absolutely sense. I shared that with my friend Rick, and he said, absolutely, that makes sense. I'm not a military guy. I was a restaurant hamburger flipper. They also did, this is their specialty in this club, was covers. First, and you guys probably know a lot about first day covers. I never looked at these. I figured they were in the stamp world. I am not a stamp guy. I don't go down that rabbit hole. Nothing bad with stamps, ill will about it. I'm just so focused on postcards. I seen these and I just thought they were a cancel, but each ship, I talked to the lady and she's very knowledgeable about this group. Each ship has a post office and clerk on there that stamp the mail going out, and people collect the boat stamps. As you see here, this one is USS Dakota or D'Amato, DD871. And then the one on the right has another little special thing, but people would call the boats or send letters and request these covers. I have about 5,000 of these covers. Now, they sell about the same as a Chrome card, between $4 and $5, $3, but some of them, people want to finish their collection. One thing I found out about collectors, they might have this postcard, this Chrome postcard, but it might not be in the best condition, but it's keeping a space in their collection until it can find one better and they can trade this one off. They do that with action figures and toys. I got one toy and his right arm doesn't work right. They go to a flea market and they find one that works better than the one they got. They'll replace that and sell the other one. So they're constantly trading up to get there. So somebody might have a USS Dashel cover, but it might be torn, and they see this one is not torn. Guess what? They bought it. So that's how collectors, I found, think a little bit. But the covers are really nice. And covers, I'm starting to look for them because I went to the flea market yesterday in West Lafayette, Indiana. Never been there. I sell at a flea market with my father-in-law. I found this cover. It's Babe Ruth 1983, like a first day cover with Babe Ruth on it. I would probably walk by those. I didn't know much about them. The next one I found was Skylab for Apollo. This was all on one guy's table. And then the next one was Apollo 17. I grew up with the Apollos, when they went off. So now I have a different thing to play with, is I can find covers. Now, are these worth a mint? Probably not, but you know what? That's pretty cool to look at and to look for. And I got my friend interested in them now too. He sells in Philadelphia and he's learning right along with me. So I'm never, in postcards, I tell people you never stop listening. Also in this big haul was some patches. I'm not a military guy. If you look at the bottom here, and the one on the left says third class, but it's only got one stripe or chevron. To me, it should have 3 stripes because it's third class. I had them all mixed up. So I talked to the seller, the lady, and she said, this is a postal clerk on the ship patches. And if you look underneath the eagle, that's a postmark. That's a cancel. That's what those are for. So I have about 100 of these patches. They don't sell for much, but I thought they were pretty cool to have. They are for selling in the store in case people were asking about them, but I really didn't know what they were. They're petty officer postal clerk patches is what I'm told. But 3 stripes means first class, 1 stripe means third class. I was schooled on that. Okay, I hope I'm doing this in a nice pace for you guys. I'm kind of feel like I'm doing a YouTube video here, Mike. So every week I do a special topic. I have a lot of novelty. Yeah, I have a lot of novelty postcards. One of my niches that I like to collect is novelty stuff. Anything weird, not risque stuff or any of the Americana, I stay away from all that political stuff. I like being in the middle, but I'm a novelty guy. I just bought a postcard the other day about thermometer. It actually works. It's like a thin thermometer that takes the temperature. So Mike, you'll see that video coming up on thermometers. So the one I picked to go over today was called Hold to the Light Postcards. Some people know what they are and some people don't. I've had a lot of people that I knew were heavy collectors. They never looked at these before because they never see them. And you're going to see why a lot of people look over these. The biggest thing I want to do with my YouTube channel when I show what's sold is get the new sellers in, the younger people, get them in there and get interested. And because what they do is they don't feel comfortable when they go to antique malls, flea markets, shows, look into a box. They really don't know what to look for. So I'm trying to teach them what to do when you look through a box. Pick the airports out, pick the universities. Don't shy away from the chromes, stuff like that. Pick the Santas in purple and blue suits. Don't get the red ones. The other ones sell better. So the Hold to the Light postcard. So the first I'm going to show you here is the Boston Church, the historical Boston Church. As you can see, there's some red windows on there. A Hold to the Light postcard is one that alters its appearance when held up to a bright source of light. The most desired effect was to transform a daylight scene into a night view with a glowing windows and moon. This card I'm going to show you hits all those key places. Unless held up to a light, many of these hold to the light postcards are not discernible from ordinary postcards. That's where people miss them. I love going into antique booths and finding these. I very rarely find these in the wild. I usually have to buy them from a collector or something. They became popular in the 1890s. The price that I've seen on these can go from $5 on the cheaply made ones that didn't stand up to the test of time, or up to $75 and up depending on the subject and condition. This is I kind of took a snapshot here because I didn't want to blind people with a light, but this is what it looks like with a light behind it. As you can see, the windows, the moon, and all light up. So if you shine a light behind these, they actually shine through. This one you could tell if you looked in a box because the front ply, there's basically two plies put together on this postcard with the tissue like paper inside, the translucent part that does the glow, and they squish it together. The die cuts are on the outside of the cardboard, so you can feel it or look at it and know there's something special about that card. So if you hold it up to the sunlight and you see light coming in, lights, and someone turns a light on inside that church, you know you got to hold a light postcard. Now this card, does this look like a hold to the light postcard? There's no die cut. There's nothing on there. The only reason I picked this out of the box is because they put at the top right, hold to the light. That caught my eye. Otherwise, I would probably pass over this card because there's really nothing happening here. There's not a lot of action. It's just one guy with a mustache doing something. I figured there's something missing, but when it said hold to the light, I pulled it out. That's what's there. You hold the light behind it. A gentleman shows up. So most people would walk right by that card. That card, I could probably sell that card between $40 and $60. But that one's not for sale. I keep all my novelty ones. So if we go back and look at the hold to the light cards, let me just find the first picture here. That's what it looks like in the box without any light behind it, just red windows and stuff like that. Then when you put the light behind the church, you get the glowing, like there's someone inside. That's the cool part of these. And then this one, you don't see anything until you put a bright light behind it and the gentleman pops up. So that's something you want to look for. I definitely look for these, but like I said, I rarely find them. So now this is the then and now views. I call them past and present. Then and now is another big word for it. But what me and my wife do, and we enjoy it, we spend about 5 hours one day in Florida. I got a lot of Florida ones coming up. We went up to Anna Marie Island and found the old jail, and I had a postcard from it, and we lined it up just right to what the postcard is. This is of the main street in Manteno, Illinois. This shot from the circa 1920s. That building is still there. The awning, it's a little different, but it's not a dirt road anymore, and the cars are a little different. So when you watch the video, I'm going to show on this is an actual video from my YouTube. You'll see a map where I go down into where it is, and then it's going to show the postcard, and then it dissolves out into what it looks like today. So you can see the difference on there. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Let me do one thing here just to make sure everybody can hear it. A little louder.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, so that's the video. And if you guys notice, we kind of got it right. The street was a little bit wider and the cars are different, but that's the actual corner, what it looked like in 1920s and what it looks like today. Some of the buildings, I just did one for St. Patrick's Academy in Moments, which is about 15 miles east of me. We went out there to take a picture of the building. Guess what? The building's gone. There's a grotto, a Catholic grotto there now. So I left it in there. The Elks Lodge in Kankakee is gone. I took a picture of the missing spot. I put some real like sympathetic music on it. The courthouse, churches. And I also had people send me postcard. They seen a postcard in my store and they sent me the picture. So, but those are scheduled on Tuesday mornings and that we do one every week. So I enjoy selling, talking about postcards. I enjoy selling postcards. I enjoy collecting postcards. And my toy business has now taken a back seat to postcards. Postcards have taken probably 75% of my time now. I downsized my toy store from 2,000 items down to 600, and I'll probably be down to about 200 after Christmas. So, but that's my little presentation. Any questions? And I hope I got the answers.
No question. Get here. What when you pick up, I'm going to say a collection, but when you pick up postcards from a family and a person, and it's their family correspondence, or this person's correspondence with someone or a group of people. I'm not talking about somebody's postcard collection. In the sense that most of us collect postcards, but how do you feel about that collection as a whole? And do you sell it as a complete entity? Or do you sell off the individual cards? I mean, what what role do you think the story of those postcards plays in its history?
Most of the time, when I get postcards, I've probably been through a couple hands already.
Yeah.
Like auctions or resellers online or friends. But if I go to an estate sale and I see postcards or ephemera, like paper and stuff, I definitely exactly got the same thinking I do, is I ask them, are you sure you didn't want to keep these? I talk to the owners or whatever. I don't do a lot of estate sales, but they're probably hit that nerve at those more than anything. Most of the ones I find in antique booths and stuff, I probably couldn't even track the history down.
Right. Yeah. Most of those are probably all gone through. They're not coherent anymore.
Yeah. From my father-in-law, when he cleans out houses and I get a stack from them, they've already paid my father-in-law's boss's company to clean everything out, to get the house ready to sell.
Right.
So I feel comfortable. But if there's anything private on a postcard, I don't read every postcard, but if there's anything that sticks out, I'll not list that postcard. I'll put it in the box and bring it to a flea market or set it to the side. There is also a lot of scammers that come in and say, hey, how did you find this card? That's my mother's house. Would you give me that for $2?
Oh, yeah.
So you weigh that back and forth, but I know what you mean about is it personal protective information on those cards? The cards I sell, probably not. Some of the Continental cards might have some stuff, but anybody can find anybody's address. But another thing is storage lockers. Some of my friends buy storage lockers. Inside there, a lot of people keep their paperwork and stuff like that. One of my friends will try to track down the family and say, hey, do you want this back? My other friend says, no way. I'm with the other guy, hey, I bought a locker and it's got some personal stuff in here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And my other question is more particular. I'm going to be in Chicago in October. If I can get away and go shopping, where should I go?
What part of Chicago will you be in?
Magnificent Mile.
Oh, down in the loop there. Shopping for postcards or shopping for other stuff?
Postcards.
I really don't know the downtown area. You can look up for antique stores on there. I don't know what's in the loop anymore, but they're mostly.
I did. There's nothing.
You're in the middle of right in the Magnificent Mile there. I did a lot of work. I worked in Chicago for years. You're right in the loop is basically like Center City in Philadelphia, Times Square in New York.
Mhm.
That's the loop. If you get outside the city and go west, you would have to go at least 50 miles, 40 miles outside of the city to get to the smaller
Yeah,
towns.
that's not happening.
Yeah, the traffic and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, downtown, I don't think since I retired, and I worked from home for my last 4 years, so I didn't get into the city. So great popcorn places. So I remember that. So,
You know, those photographs you do where you rephotograph a site. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're two books that were done by a historian back in the end of the 1970s, where he rephotographed views that were taken by Matthew Brady's photographers at the battlefields at Antietam and Gettysburg.
okay.
And he positioned his camera. He used the view camera like those photographers had, an 8x10 view camera, and reproduced the photograph so you could see how it looked now. And it was remarkable how little things had changed. You might see something in the background, like a building.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one that was more startling was the rephotographic survey that was done by the University of Colorado and the Smithsonian. And that was a book that came out in the early 80s. And there was one picture in particular that was really funny, where they took from the same angle a photograph of a butte in Green River, Wyoming. And instead of having this beautiful scene, they were looking in someone's living room window. And there was a person sitting there watching television, and you could just see a bit of the butte over the roof of the house. But that book was quite startling in how the landscape that these people like Timothy O'Sullivan and Alexander Gardner photographed back in the 1870s. And these had been the Civil War photographers who went on to photograph the United States Geological Survey later. But how things have changed.
Yeah. Now there's a friend of mine. We were gonna do this. We had this plan about, I don't know, 15 years ago. We were gonna take all the movie scenes like Rambo. Dirty Harry was one with Clint Eastwood, where he throws his badge at the end into the pond. But we were gonna go find that pond and take a picture of it and do all this stuff. It's a parking lot. It's a mall.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder how on some of the postcards in the older days and the early 1900s, how they got those big, tall, look down aerial shots? They didn't have drones back in those days. So some of the people have told me they did them out of church towers. I thought maybe they put the camera on a balloon or something and went up or tied it to a bird, but they said they did it from a lot of cathedrals or the highest point on there. Nowadays, they just do it with a drone.
Yeah.
Question.
There are companies that do that.
Yes.
Two things. One, why don't you classify your eBay postcard by the number that eBay gives you? Only eBay, when you post an eBay postcard, they give you a number for them.
Mm-hmm.
I use that, and I sort my postcard by that number. So when somebody buys it, I can just go ahead and look for the number. It's easy because it's numbered. I don't have to guess anything.
You think like I do. I did that until I started selling on Etsy. Then I had another number, and then they were in the same boxes. And then I had Hip that didn't have a number.
But you sell the same postcard on more than one site.
No, they're all individual listings, but how I put them in the box are sequential numbers. So the numbers are all different on the different sites. So I
But if you have the eBay box with the number of eBay and then the Etsy box with the number of Etsy.
yeah, I don't do the separate locations. They're just all in those white boxes by number.
And the other thing for the personal postcards, if they're old, like I found, I bought one time a set of 500 postcards that were from World War I, and I was able to buy the postcard to retell the story or guess somehow the story of the couple that were not texting, sending postcard to each other during the First World War in Italy. And it was pretty interesting. So I'm glad you don't burn them.
Yeah, and one of the things is I kind of consider myself as a middleman to the collectors. I sell them at a cheaper price. So when people are picking stuff like that out, if I found 4 or 5 of those cards like that, I would sell them as a set, like a lot. But individual people can go in and pick those out at a lower price, and they can build their collections or build what you're doing, is trying to put a piece together, some history, and they can do it without breaking the bank.
Yeah, I was lucky because this was a vendor in Baltimore years ago. This was like over 20 years ago. And he still had most of them in one box together, Italy. And he said like Italy, you just look through it. He didn't sort them. And so when I realized what he was, I say, I'll buy the box. And he gave me a decent price. Otherwise I couldn't have.
Yeah, international cards. And while you're on that subject, I get a lot of question on international cards. I will list them, but I don't actually look for them because I'm not multi-language, and they don't seem to sell to my sellers as well. But I will put them in Google Translate to find out Germany or France, and I'm starting to get more into the internationals. I sell a lot of postcards internationally. I got every country. I can send them to any country for $1.20. There's a certain stamp.
Yeah.
Right there, $1.20. I'll send anything to any country in the world for $1.20. I only charge 75 cents because in my price, I already got the 55 cents figured in. You know, and a lot of people won't sell internationally. They say to people, there's too much risk. I go, risk? They're just like us. Canada, I every day I got stuff going to Canada, UK. I found out that Ireland is not, I should put United Kingdom on there because it took 3 months for the postcard to show up. I put the wrong country.
The numbers that you use when you file your postcards in your boxes, do those numbers show up in the listings?
No, they show up in what they call a custom label field, which is a SKU field that only the seller sees.
Oh, okay.
Now, you will see some postcard people from the older days before eBay added a custom label field in the listing form, that at the end of their title, they'll have some numbers, or they'll put box A or something. And they just don't use the SKU field, but I use the custom label field. And what I do when I say I list 100 posts, I'm going to list 100 postcards today. I have a Dymo printer with a counter, and I'll go to the last number on my inventory sheet, say it's 3,000, and I'll go to the Dymo printer and I'll start it with 3001, and then how many labels I want is 100. It spits out 100 labels sequential to me. So number one, it takes the human factor out, because if I tried to write them on every card, I might miss one. The computer is counting, you know, and I just have to peel and stick a label on the card. I think I'm up to about 30, number 4,100 or something like that, or 40,100.
So if I was looking for cards of Hoover Dam or Boulder Dam, as it was called when it was being built, the government took photographs, and postcard companies then apparently reproduced these photographs as cards, and they're black and white. And now if I looked for these on eBay, I would just, let's say, to see what you had. I'm completely illiterate when it comes to doing this sort of thing, so
Yeah.
I would just put your name in, or just put in the subject matter.
If you go to SMPostcards.com, you know, www.SMPostcards.com, that would take you right into the eBay store, and then it'll say search this store in a little field, and you would type in Boulder Dam or Dam, and it will show you all the postcards that's in that store. Or you can just go to eBay and say Boulder Dam, and it'll show you all, you know, 6 million postcards, Boulder Dam. Search function. Now, if you don't want something in your search, say you want Boulder Dam, but you don't want Kankakee Dam, you could just put a minus Kankakee, and it will take all those out. A lot of people, when they search for postcards, I did a little video on this about finding Chicago postcards. The first, I did a video and I typed in Chicago postcard. I came up with 40,000 things, postcards. No one's going to be able to get through the first 2 pages. So I said, okay, let me find fountains in Chicago. So I put fountain Chicago postcards. Then I got it down to 25,000. What if I put Grant Park fountain Chicago postcard? I got it down to 250, and people can search. So when a seller puts a keyword and a title in, the more keywords they can put in that title, the more the computer can tell what they want to get, the right product to the right person. Just like YouTube wants to get the video to the right audience. They try to match the audience there. So if you go on YouTube and you watch all monster truck videos, guess what? Next time you sign into YouTube, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get monster truck videos. So if someone comes in and watch postcards all day, they're going to get postcards. So YouTube try to matches the video to the thing. eBay tries to match the product to the person looking for it. A lot of sellers won't put postcard in the title, and I don't want. And another thing I'm experimenting with, me and my friend, the influencer, we're trying to work up the titles to get more hits on our YouTube. And he said, is it postcard, one word, or post space card? I said, oh God, don't open that door. And we're doing some videos, we're going to use post space card, and we're going to do postcard, because post space card in Google Trends, some analysis we did, more people are searching for post space card than they're searching for postcard, one word. So am I missing some people finding my videos? It's kind of like, is this the front of the postcard, or is this the front? You know, the old, you know, you talk to some people, they'll say this is the back, this is the front. I got a video coming up on talking about front or back, like postcard or postcard. So
Which is the front? It's the picture.
Depends who you talk to.
I don't know.
Back in the day, this was they considered this in the front. So it's kind of like I can never say the word of postcard collecting, dietology. Some people, yeah.
Deltologist.
Deltiology.
That's it. Yeah, some people don't recognize that. And I'm a dentiologist. A dentist? No, a dentiologist. I study postcards. So the post-space card is one, it's kind of like politics and religion. You don't want to talk about that. You say that, or you say front and back, you know. And I just did a video. Did you know postcards were the first social media?
Okay.
This is the Facebook and the TikTok and the Twitter of the day. I mean, people use postcards to talk about events in their family and stuff. And then when the telephone came out, the postcards took a back seat until they started using the Chrome cards, and they could get nice pictures on them and do the wish you were here stuff. But I told people, I said, this was the first social media. So if I wanted to tweet someone, I would send them a postcard, and 5 days later they get a tweet.
Actually, on the first postcard, they will get a postcard the same day. Post office were way more efficient.
Now I read that they used to.
They were getting the postcard in the same day. I found postcard, they say, meet me this afternoon. I'm sure they will not send a meet me this afternoon if the postcard will not be arriving before the afternoon.
I was doing some research on some things, and they actually said what you're saying was sometimes they had postal delivery in some towns twice a day.
Yes.
2 and 3 times a day sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
Depends where.
I have a note that I've written down because I couldn't wrap that around my head when during last Christmas I had 100 refunds because of post office issues. But most of my cards, a lot of people say, why don't you put tracking, postal tracking and all that? I sell them and I put them in envelopes are graded by GSM. That's the scale. This is a 250 GSM card. Your regular envelopes are like 10. This is a photo mailer that you put photos in, they stay flat. And I put them in a sleeve and I put them in there and I mail them out with a stamp. There's no tracking number really on most of the stuff. And people say, well, aren't you worried about refunds? What I found with postcard people are not like the toy people and other things. They're probably one of the most polite people to work with. This year, we're in month 8. I've had 9 refunds or lost mail items out of thousands of postcards I've sold. Toys, totally different story.
For letter tracking, you can have a letter tracking that will tell you where the letter is for cents.
Yeah. So
Like,
eBay is just,
you know, eBay is too expensive.
well, eBay just came out with a eBay standard envelope that uses what Letter Track uses. They use that barcode. And what we found with that is it will track it. Nobody scans it, the machines do it. And then it'll scan to the last post office, but not to your house.
Correct.
And that's what Letter Check. And what that from is from the marketing people that send mail in the post office want to know how their letters are doing. They used to spit out these forms and stuff. So eBay jumped on that now and it is doing that, but they're only 83% of them are showing delivered. They still have problems with scans at the post office. But I don't have problems with refunds by at all with the postcard people. People that buy postcards from me, toys, sometimes you get those scammers in there, you know, all the arm doesn't work right. Okay, send it back. I don't deal with that with the postcard. There's no drama. People love their cards. So I tell people that I'm very comfortable sending them overseas. I'm comfortable sending 100 postcards. You know, now a lot of people say people won't scam a $4 postcard on eBay. No, they won't. What they'll do is they'll get a hold of someone else's account information and they'll come to my little $4 postcard and test it to see if it worked. And if it worked, then they'll buy 100 postcards and send it to their address. And all of a sudden I got somebody saying I didn't buy these. So you got to watch that in the internet world. But if you're smart about it, know the flags, you know, I don't have problems with it. But you're absolutely right. That Letter Track has been around for years and it does work. So.
That's what I do for national. They don't have for international.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, eBay new stuff is only local too. Yeah. But I send them by that little stamp overseas. These. Some people will charge them like $4 to send it over and stuff. I'm saying, why? Well, the risk of what? I've done a lot of work in there. But that's
$14 sometimes for sending a postcard overseas.
Yeah. No, I send packages. I send packages all the time. Australia, New Zealand. I got a guy in Taiwan that just buys toys like crazy. They can't get them over there. So during the lockdown, my postcard sales went through the roof. Everything just went through the roof. Then when we opened back up, everything hit the cellar except postcards. They stayed nice and steady. Postcard people like their postcards. Toy people, no. I sat on a lot of toys.
Yeah, Mark, I wanted to thank you. One thing I've never met you, but I can tell you're a sharer and you share information just beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I would be glad to come back if anybody wants to see some special postcards. Go check out my videos. Every video I do on Thursdays, I do one of these special topics. I have a whole box full of novelty postcards. The last one I did was on alphabet cards, where you see the letters of the alphabet with the Cupid sitting in them, or the fancy ones. I do research on them before I do the videos, so I make sure I try to give them. Then I also do a term. The last term I did on that video was the killer cancel, and I explained to people what the killer cancel is. The killer cancel is where they smack the postcard with so much ink and pressure that it embosses through the card, destroys the stamp image, and then bleeds through the front.
Yeah.
And on the video, I told people it's not a new movie or like The Blob or anything. Killer Cancel sounds like a great movie, but that yeah, and a lot of people think kill or cancel is where it kills the stamp from being used. It can be used that way, but it's when they smack it so hard that it just, and there was different stamps used, cancel stamps used in the days that I'm finding out. And you can tell by the pressure, the way they've done them. The stamp people probably know more about that. I'm kind of on the edge of the stamps. I got to stay away. You know, they don't fit in my scanner, the stamps. So, but I scan the postcards too. I have a scanner, and then I scan the front and back. Everybody, some people only do the front or the back, whatever it is, but I do front and back, and I can scan about 1,000 postcards an hour. And I scan them all up, and then as I list them, I look and see if they, and most of them, I don't do a lot of research on the Chrome cards like this. I know it's a lake somewhere, someone's going to pay $4 to $5 for it. They've been there. But if one pops up and it's like, okay, this is a Santa with a blue suit, that one needs to go in the special folder for more research. But to sell them at $4.45, $4, I can't spend a lot of time on the lower value cards, the Chromes and stuff. But there is some Chrome cards like Disney. Those are $7 to $8 cards for me. I actually was doing that, and there's a Disney card with a porcupine on the picture in the Grand Canyon of the Disneyland. I put it up for $4.45. My granddaughter was here, and I was homeschooling her that day because nobody else could do it. Yeah, I'll do it. I was trying to list in between. I put that card up for $4. This guy roasted me. That card sells between $80 to $150. One of the most rarest Disney cards. And here I am, I put it up. No wonder it sold an hour. So my model can make mistakes, but you know what? When you go to an antiques mall or a flea market, and you go to that one seller and you find that one special thing, and you got such a great deal, guess where next time you go to that flea market, where do you go first? To that guy. So hopefully the guy that bought the big Disney cards come back and say, hey, I got anything else? In my store, you could probably find a gold mine, because I'm all about quantity, all about moving cards, get them out to people. It doesn't bother me. Maybe I'm a marketing genius, or I'm just giving the house away. But so far I've been able to eat every night. But I don't want to, I see some people take these Chrome cards and put them up for $40. The other day, a guy asked me, it was some special restaurant in New York. I forgot what it was called. He goes, this is a $100 card. And me and this other guy was online with him. He's been doing postcards longer than me. I said, that's a $4 Chrome card. Well, it's not there anymore. He put it up for like $90. And I'm saying, it's not going to sell. No one's going to pay $90 for a mass produced tourist card. So people think just because cards are old, they might not be worth what they think. But there are some special cards out there that I've run across that just wow me. And you guys probably know more about some of the specialties on that. But I want to get some more people involved with postcards. Postcard clubs is on my agenda for, I'm doing a video on postcard clubs. I want to, like Michael asked me to speak to this one. If there's other clubs out there people want me to come in and do something with and talk about it, but I'll be doing a video on it. And in my description, I got one postcard seller gave me all the links for all the shows and stuff are. So I'll be talking about those at the end of my videos now, because a lot of people don't know that there's shows and there's toy shows and stuff, but everybody thinks postcard, you have to be an expert. No, you just gotta like them and learn from them.
That's the beauty of the postcard compared to stamps. You can have two people having the same topic collection and they are totally different.
Yeah. Stamps, I get close to stamps. And one guy told me, he says, you know, you got a lot of money in those stamps on those postcards. I said, great, buy them. You go to these auctions and you see a big box of stamps. And I'm saying, God, that's like Legos. I don't do Legos because I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. But stamps, I think there's something there, but I get to the edge and then I run. So now I date postcards by the stamps. So I did a video on dating postcards and show people how easy you can get it, is it white border? Is it what the postage history of stamps, the 1 cent, 2 stamp, and they jump back to 2 cents or something like that. You can actually get it down in the era of the postcard. You can get it down to the year or whatever. And then I showed them how count the number of stars on the flag that's on a postcard. If you got an American flag in a postcard, count the stars. You can go on the internet and find out how many stars are on a flag, if the artist did it right, or the picture. So I did one on there, and a lot of people say, this is exactly what I needed. I said, well, now you can take it to the next level. Here's what you can do. But I'm just trying to introduce people to how easy it is to get into it, how much fun it is. My problem is I'll sit here listing postcards, then I start reading them and looking at them. And I wanted to list 50 today. Here I am on card 9, and it's like 3 hours later. So sometimes I got to turn that part of me off. But I got my
Any other
hands full of these posts. Yes.
Any other questions? Mark, thank you. Thank you very much. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you
Encourage
very much.
everybody, check out Mark's YouTube channel and subscribe to it so you get notified for when he puts out his new videos, because they're always very interesting. Talks about specific cards and the terminology. You can learn something. They're very good. They really are very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
I enjoy talking about postcards. I could probably do this all night long. I'm glad Michael
Thank
jumped
you
in.
very much, Mark. Thank you.
Yeah, you too, Rick. And good luck
If
with your
anybody
name.
is interested, Mark's offered our club members a special 20% discount on his eBay store, but we didn't want to put it in the video. So if anybody wants to know the discount code, just send an email to me or to the club, the hello@Western Europe Postcard Club, and we'll let you know what it is.
Yeah, and that's good forever. If it gives you any problems, just let me know. So you guys, postcard people, are what drive what I want to do. So, you know, I've already had a couple good orders from there. And Mike, another one just came in for 78 cards the other day. So,
Okay.
so I mean, and if anybody's looking for a certain card, just email me. Like I said, I got all this time on my hands now, but I'll get back to you. But that if you have any problems, when you go to checkout in eBay, Mike, I think that's where you do it, right? You put the code in at checkout.
Yes.
Yeah, just put that code in there and it'll automatically take it off.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, have a good
Thank-
night.
Thanks, everyone. You've been very kind. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Great show, great program.